Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a little bit more of an intermission than anticipated, but we're happy to be here tonight. I'm here with my co-host, Nancy. Everybody say hi to Nancy. Nancy, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
When in my mind, I created this podcast or wanting to have this podcast, the beautiful vision behind it was that I had spent so much time benefiting from the wisdom and instruction of Nancy that I thought it would be a fantastic opportunity to bring Nancy to everyone in some way, shape, or form, to be a teacher of the many. And this podcast has been able to do that for us. So I'm grateful to all the individuals that hang out with us, listen, discuss, share ideas, thoughts, feelings, scenarios. And just wanted to give a quick thank you to everybody who has been participating in this project with us. We're happy to be here with you. Hello, Denise. We missed you too. So our topic for tonight is on emotions. Nancy, would you like to start or should I?
You start.
Okay. So in this reprieve of time that I've taken, I've been really grounding in with myself. And one thing that really came to mind was this little piece of great advice or instruction from Abraham Hicks. So every morning I've been sharing with myself, today I will look for reasons to feel great. Nothing is more important than me feeling great and choosing thoughts and feelings that help me to rendezvous with all the positive aspects of this multiverse. So when I say that to myself, I notice that when I am on target and do it, I have wonderful life experiences. And it's different, it's heightened. So there is a way for us to use emotions in a way that can be very beneficial to us, make us clear, give us positive reinforcement and joy. And then there's a little bit of cloudiness with emotions where we let our emotions lead us instead of using them as a constructive tool. So, tonight, one of the things that I'd like to pick Nancy's brain about is how do we allow our emotions to help us get the most advantage out of whatever it is they're offering, whether it be anger, sadness, happiness. Nancy, I'd like it if you took over and what would be your feedback on that, Meaning yes. Like, sorry.
Give me a second to sort of round all that in. Well, we're going to have emotions. If you don't have emotions, you're sort of a robot. The AI has incredible opportunity for thought and for logic and reason, and it can put together amazing things, and we haven't even really reached even the beginning of all that. It's been going on for a long time, but I mean, there's still a lot more to come. Where the heart, we call it the heart, the feelings, the emotions, it's what makes us human, or it makes us real, or it makes us to our true self. So whoever controls the emotion, be it positive or negative, whoever controls the emotions has the power. So you can see what's happening in our world. The fear, all of the the dissatisfaction. People are dissatisfied. There's just so much stuff going on that has people upside down, and so many things. I mean, it's not easy to go through some of the things that people are going through right now. So and the emotions are going to come up. I mean, anger is going to be there probably in at least some point. Anger is not always the first sign of it. Anger can come in second base. when there's denial, you feel like, oh, that can't be true. It's not going to happen. And then when you go through that process, there's a whole study on the different processes of loss and so on. So, the next step, when you get into anger, the problem with anger is that it's not that you're not going to experience it. It's actually the negative emotions are easier to experience in this time age, a lot of times than the positive ones. Now, the positive ones will last longer once you get through it. I mean, once you get through the negative and you can to see what you don't want and what you're not going to embody, then you start moving towards a neutrality, or you start moving towards the higher level. And the higher level will not only it solves your problems, just like you mentioned. It solves your problems. It's going to make everything easier. Getting through that negativity and getting through that veil of negativity is not what we were taught a lot of times as children, and it's not what we were taught. We were justified. We're justified to do war. We're justified to do and be angry, which it has nothing to do really not being justified. But the only thing is, eventually it's not going to work. Anger is like worry. Worry will never solve the problem. What you're doing is programming exactly what you don't want. And anger is the thing that really creates a lot of, it's high energy. It can be very destructive energy. It can be destructive to stress in the body. It can do a lot of damage, and depending on how far the anger goes. A lot of times people have a tendency to suppress the anger, and they pretend like it's not there when it is. Or they lash out and they a lot of times people will point, they're upset about themselves, or they're upset about something else or someone else, and then they'll project it to someone else. They'll be angry they'll take the anger out in a different way. There's all kinds of problems that come from anger, because anger is the opposite of clarity. So if you want to be clear and you want to have clarity, anger is not going to lead you down that path. It's going to be something that comes up, it's very likely to come up. And every time we have that problem, the problem, right beside is the answer, the solution. So if what happens in anger, it wants you to act right now. It wants you to lash out right now. It wants you to do the damage and hold on to it and rehearse it. And the mind will even rehearse what you'd say to this person, how you're going to treat this person, and what you need to do, and so on. So there's a lot of things that go into anger, and it's leading down a dead-end street. The only thing you get out of anger is more problems, because many of us too, we don't like when we have an experience and we show anger, it does not make us feel good. It's not something that I'm going to take lightly and so on. If I've acted out, or I don't do too much of this anymore, but if I acted out and so on, then it's not going to be something that I'm going to be real proud of or feel good about. And the interesting thing too with the anger is, once it explodes and does it, it's very hard to get that energy back. Once it's done, people hold grudges. They hold a lot of different feelings towards that. If you get hurt and your heart gets hurt and you get upset and you get, then you get angry too, you get angry back. And then it's like fire. It just fuels, each one feels the other one's fire, and so on. It's very hard sometimes for people to do the remedy to anger, or the remedy to any of these emotions, be it fear, anger, depression, helplessness, self-doubt, sadness, disappointment, vulnerability, rejection, hatred, loneliness. I mean, these are all emotions that that people feel, and none of them are going to take you. They're unlit. I call them unlit candles. They cannot light another candle. The only thing they can do is burn something up and create a lot of problems.
Denise says, Because of both of you, I'm so much better with triggers and emotions. You have no idea how much I missed you. I hope that you're both doing well.
Aw.
Um,
So, the idea would be, there are remedies. There's ways to, you either control the emotions. Now, the emotion has the power. The whole purpose of emotions inside of us, as you know, the whole thing about emotions, it's a power force. It's power. It takes something, it takes a thought and does something to it. It enhances it or it pushes it into, and that, just like Abraham and so on talks about, it pushes it in and embodies it and pushes it into another zone, another layer, another stronger point. So one way or another, emotions are powerhouses and they are very important. And we do have a choice on how we're going to handle those emotions. The person that just has no clue how to handle their feelings and their emotions, they go through a lot. The person who learns how to handle the emotions and chooses the emotion that's going to empower them rather than dispower them. I don't know if that's a word, but anyway, it's going to be beneficial to the person who learns how to accept the emotions, accept all of the wonderful things, and because it can bring, it goes hand in hand with all of the, I can't even think now. It goes hand in hand with imagination. And so does the negative go hand in hand with imagination. It will even tell us to assume negative things. It can tell us to move past things and how wonderful they can be. The imagination coupled with the emotions is very powerful. Very powerful. In fact, it's necessary. It's necessary for manifestation. Logic, there's a lot of angry people, and when you get a lot of angry people together and they form a destiny, a cult, or they can't do a cult, but they can form a strong bond in that anger, and one feeds the next and the next thing feeds the next, and it's just like all these fires and all these different elements that we have going on. They're sort of showing us what happens when eventually it's going to get cleared, but to what destruction, to how far is it going to go?
I agree. So with emotions, I love, when you and I were talking about this subject the other day, the simple phrase that you use often is it working? And sometimes, and in this exchange between us, right in the beginning, you said something that I think is really powerful, where you said that if we can master our emotions, that's where our power is at. Meaning, am I feeling this and it's helping me to get to somewhere else? And we either are experiencing alignment or contrast. Is this emotion moving me towards alignment? Is it doing something beneficial for me? Is it helping me to process something? Is it helping me to meet a goal or feel good or be productive in my life? Or are these emotions taking over my life and hindering me from doing that? So, one of the things that I've been talking to Nancy about this past, I want to say, week and a half, 2 weeks, is Joe Dispenza. And we've been having some great conversations about that. But one of the takeaways that he had offered in his book, Creating the New You, I believe it's called, he said that habitat equals habit, meaning that when we are in an environment that is producing our automated habits, as we grow up or when we become an adult, we wake up around the same time, on the same side of the bed, use the same coffee mug. There's a lot of sameness going on, and these habits become autopilot, and the autopilot kind of gets us in this trance-like state of going through the motions. And by going through those motions, not only are we having an energetic experience, but we're also creating pathways in our brain biologically, and we're hardwiring this way of living and being into our mind. So when we are introduced to someone like Abraham Hicks, Florence Scovel Shinn, some kind of positive teacher who's teaching us how to move past the box or the ideology of the matrix, it can be an interesting new experience, because not only do we have the ideology or the beliefs or the construct of where we've been living and what we've been doing, but we also have this biological hardwiring that we've created. And there's these new techniques or nuances, is what I was going to say. There's these nuances that we can use to get ourselves incrementally out of the emotions that may be making us not feel so great. The inspiration for this.
I don't think you can get yourself out of the emotion.
Well, isn't it going to the eye of the storm, Nancy?
Well, you go into the eye of the storm, but you're changing the emotion. I don't know that it's getting out of the emotion. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's my experience. I think it's harder to get out of an emotion than it is to change it. Because emotions are a part of us. If we're out of emotions, I mean, there are a lot of people, like I said, I don't particularly want to be a robot with just, thought and logic and reason and no heart. So emotions are part of this, and a lot of this goes back, like we both know, it goes back to childhood and our mentoring and all the things that we've experienced, and the timelines that we also have timelines, past lives and timelines that we have are active, and so it creates a response to different people. Sometimes we feel like we've known them all our lives when we first met them, and other times I don't want to be around that person, because their emotions. I don't think we can get rid of them, but I don't think thought goes away either.
I don't think it's about getting rid of it. What I mean by changing them is that, okay, is this serving me? Yes or no? If yes, right, then great. And if no, then what can I pivot into to create a circumstance that does serve me?
Well, one of the things that person can, I mean, there's so many different things people can do, but one, I think it's overlooked, is if you want to change the way that you're feeling or thinking about something, and a lot of times this stuff is whatever we're angry at seems real to us and very strong. But if you don't want to act out, first you take a step back and you wait at least 10 minutes before you say anything. There's something about silence that can really be very effective when it's negative. And another thing you can do is hum a song to yourself. You don't have to do it out loud if you don't want to. I don't mean you have to be rude to the person either, but you can hum. If you start humming, it's going to take you right out of it.
Mm-hmm.
At least for the moment. Now the mind's going to try to probably pull you back into it. But there's so many things, Abraham Hicks and Joe Dispenza, they all teach the same thing that we're talking about, and that is, and they do it they've been around and doing it very effectively for years. But there's no but on that. But the part that is a but is we have to recognize what we're doing. We have to be conscious and understand that there is, someone triggered me or something triggered me, or maybe I was already triggered before I even went into that situation. Maybe someone else said something and it was hearsay and it was an assumption and it wasn't even real to the extent of being accurate. It could be there's negative energies that would just like to tap everybody into, or anyone they can into, a negative energy, because once you lower your energy, you don't have clarity and you don't trust and you have separation.
Mm-hmm.
And fear comes with separation automatically, trust, going through that whole line of negative energies and emotions. Emotion is a wonderful thing. When you're in love, there's nothing better. When you are enjoying, having the gratitude and you're feeling the birds singing and the trees are talking to you and everything is wonderful. Our emotions are happy and so on. Well, all those emotions are inside of us, and they happen to be side by side of whatever triggered the other situation.
Yes. So let's say, Nancy, because one of the points of inspiration for this podcast when we were discussing it was saying there's a lot of people that I've been talking to in the past couple of weeks who are going through a lot of changes and a lot of transformation. And it seems to me like collectively we're going through a lot of transformation. There's a lot of hot button topics being discussed right now, whether that be politics or money or new relationships or where are we going. It seems like a big transformation is in the air, and that is pivoting people into a new way of being. So, being, it could be triggering for some people when it becomes when they're not comfortable, when they want something to be a certain way and they have fear in the mix, like there's to stabilize finances might be one of them, or people are uncertain about the new political climate, or there seems to be like a charged up energy. Like I live in New York and I've been seeing a new type of energy emerging over the past couple weeks, and it's curious to me, and I've been
everything is expanding.
Yeah,
but it's not new. I mean, there's been wars going on in our universe before we even had people here somewhere in the universe. I mean, none of this is really new. It's just becoming, it's like a disease that comes to the surface, and so you can see it, and it's expanded for sure. But I wouldn't call most of this new. People might think it's new because it hasn't really hit home or they weren't aware of it. Now we're coming to an end of a whole shift of things, like you said, and the shift is going to affect everybody. It's already affecting most people.
correct.
So, it's not something new, but it is something that we can control. The difference is the teachings now from these wonderful people and so on, the teaching that Jesus taught, the teachings that Buddha taught, the teachings that all the masters that were total, real masters taught, it's inside of us. God is inside, or the divine is inside of us. There is a natural instinct, in spite of what we're seeing, in spite of what's going on. There's a natural instinct for peace and harmony and want well-being and want that happiness. So we were taught otherwise. We were taught if someone does something to you, you strike back. You have to get back. You gotta do something back. And all that does again is make two of them instead of one. One problem, and it's not going to work. What's happened now is we're in an age of light. The biggest difference in what you're describing too is we're in an age of light. So light is going to have to win. Love is the only frequency. Love is the main frequency of this whole universe. Not just here, not just in my house, not just here and so on. It is everywhere. The love frequency is the frequency of our universe now, not back before. It was harder when we were in the Pisces age. Now we're in the new age. Love is the answer. So anything that doesn't lead me to unity and love and peace and win-win for everybody, myself and everyone else, isn't going to work. And then it's very difficult to see because you're seeing the war, you're seeing people fight, you're seeing people disagree and can't get together. that we can agree to disagree. You're seeing all kinds of negative energies going on because they're trying to keep us back in the negative form rather than moving forward. And everybody has the choice. Do you mind if I give another solution?
I'd love one.
Well, I don't know if it's a solution for everybody, but it was a solution for me. I'm going to use you as an example. May I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's what I did. I was having trouble trying to stay out of trouble with judgments going on. It was politic kind of thing or whatever. And I know better. I was told to just observe and bring light to it. And I believe that is the answer for me for things that I have been saying and things that are going. But it's really hard when you hear the stories that, sometimes happen around it. But anyway, so the way that I have come to the conclusion of how I'm going to work on this. Okay, I'm going to use you as an example, okay?
Okay.
Would you say, and you just answer honest, I know the answer, but just answer, in an authentic way. Do you believe that God's inside of you?
Yes.
Do you believe that there's a very strong opportunity that God can be in the breath?
Yes.
Okay. I believe that very, very strongly. Okay, very strongly. For me, I know it. So what I've been doing is whenever I hear or see something that I might normally take issue to, I'm just saying, I'm looking at them and I'm saying, I am recognizing the God within you. You're breathing. Whoever it is breathing. It's got breath. And because it has breath, that means there's the God opportunity in each person. That's where I thought, when I realized, how important this was, how genius that, no kidding, genius is, God is genius, that's one of the reasons why I said, oh my God, you put yourself in the breath. Now I know to use it. If I'm having a hard time logically, see what will happen is whoever has the emotions has the power. They bring in a lot of other people in that fear and all that stuff. So, logic and you can sit there and say to the person, don't be afraid. Well, the logic is not going to solve the problem. Logic can solve the problem once the emotion is in agreement. But logic doesn't always solve the problem, right? If you tell people don't war, tell people be nice, be kind to someone, blah, blah, blah. And if they're angry and they don't feel like doing it yet, eventually they may. But the breath, everyone has breath. Everybody here has breath. Everything here has breath. And when that breath is light, and it's God, or it's divine, or it's the Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit, it's everything. Then all I have to do, whoever it is, it could be someone, if you got angry at someone, that's in your family or your husband, wife, or children, or whatever. Whoever they are, they're breathing. There is a God inside of them. There's a high self that's attached to them. So I don't have to have everybody doing what I think is the right thing to do. I just, all I feel to do is say, I honor the God within you.
Nancy, I know that we've covered anger quite a bit, but one of the other, I think, keynote emotions that people are navigating through right now is stress. And I know that stress is really fear. And we've had other podcasts about fear, but I think it'd be interesting to have a podcast on emotions and not mention it.
Stress is a killer. I mean, it's our imagination.
Mm-hmm.
It's our fear and imagination. It's a combination of all kinds of past experiences. If it had happened before, whatever's going on now. Let's say there's a financial crunch, and I've had a financial crunch most of my life. Oh my God, I'm getting it again. I am so tired of it. Da 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 da. Or you work and you think you're being honored. You think you've done a really good job, and you think that logic and reason is you're going to retire and you're going to have this and this and this happen and so forth, and then you get fired or you get let go unexpectedly. All of a sudden you don't. No reason, just it's done. There's a lot of stuff happening now that you can't apply logic and reason to, I think. So, what happens in this is, again, the importance is to go to the solution. Okay, you might not be on the outside world. You may not be able to control. Well, you won't be able to control a lot of things. There will be things you won't be able to control, but you certainly can control. Just this is Abraham Hicks thing. You can. It's definitely that you can control the way you handle it.
Yeah.
But you can manifest. Everybody can manifest. It doesn't. First, you manifest in your mind, and then you manifest the universe. And the universe already manifests for you, and it gives it to you somehow. But you don't know how. You don't know where it's coming. You don't know how it's going to happen. You don't know that you're going to be okay. You don't know any of that. This is where faith and trust comes in.
Right. And
this is where faith and trust comes in, because it is a law. It's a universal law that has to be, that if you think it, you become the same vibration of whatever it is that you're going after, or whatever you're asking for. If you are in that vibration, you will have it. It's going to happen. It has to happen. This is the age of light, where that's what this universal law says. It has to happen. And before you see it, but again, that old thing about, well, you order the hamburger before you eat it. Yes, but when people are struggling, and when people think they're, and these things are happening and all this stuff is happening, they have more power. Every single person has more power than anything that anyone can do to them, if they stay on the solution side. So stress, getting back, stress is not, in my opinion, stress is not too many people's, hell. I think that's your friend. So the way that you have stress, you've got to have, stress is something that if you take it so seriously and you take it personally, I would suggest, number one, don't take things personally. Not everything is personal. Yeah. It can be just the way things happen. The people that got laid off, or just or had this or that happen, or in the war of what happened and so on, they, for whatever reason, that was their life or their destiny or something, that reason for it, that goes on individually. But the stress comes in when I can't control something. I don't have control over everything that happens on the outside. I do have control about the power within me.
Yeah.
And stress comes, if I believe, I use I because I don't want to speak for everybody. But if someone, I'm just going to put it on someone else right now, anyone else. If anyone else believes in the disease stronger than they believe in the cure of it, they're going to be stressed.
That's true.
And the reason they believe so strongly in it, because painful is very, very, it's a very strong advocate of this isn't good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, pain is also a messenger. So the body is the last part that gets the message. It's already been in the person's mind. It's already given to them emotionally. It's already been going down the ladder of, but not being recognized. So then it's been consistent enough and chronic enough that it becomes something that's, all Abraham Hicks, everything that you get in the physical form starts with the mind, the
right.
thinking.
Right.
Everything. No excuse, no exception. Oh, I mean, you could say, well, it's environmental, the chemicals, and I'm working this and that. Sure, the environment can have a problem. It's not genetic like everybody used to think. Bruce Lipton, I think, is one of the most incredible people in doing work on this, like Lipton tea, Bruce Lipton. He's amazing. He used to teach doctors, but he knew that what he was teaching was not what was happening in the experimented cells. The cells were reacting to environment. They weren't reacting to genetics. So, but if I believe that I am sick, if I believe I have to be sick, if I believe that I'm going to be sick, if I believe I always got to go, and when this or that, or every year I get this and this and this. When you program something, yes, there's a chance you're going to get it. And if that is stronger than the, and if you are absolutely believing that, ibuprofen or the medicine is going to help, and I'm not saying anything against using medicine to advance this either. What I am saying is whatever I believe in faith and trust, I'm going to get. If I have faith and trust in the negative, I'm going to get it. It's going to be harder for me. That's why if, I can, when I work in hypnosis with someone before they go into surgery or go into something serious, treatments like that, they do so well. They come out and they are able to get away from, they do fast healing, the body responds because the body knows what's going on. It knows why it's being put into a room with a scalpel. And once it understands it, it knows how to heal. And the body knows how to do things. Well, what we do is we only think of the physical body. It's the physical body, the etheric body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the spirit body that are all affecting in every disease or everything that happens here on Earth. So I may be thinking, maybe it didn't start or be caused by the physical body. Maybe it was the emotional body. So once we become whole and once we start going into solution and going inside and getting our answers from the inside, it'll show you exactly what to do. I mean, I work with healing all the time on different things, and but if someone said that won't work, well, I've had people say it didn't work and it did. But if people believe strongly that it's not going to work, then it's going to take longer. So that's stressful. The more stress I have is because I'm not clear. Stress and lack of clarity go hand in hand. Stress and lack of trust and sincerity, being comfortable go hand in hand, I think.
Yeah.
And yes, stress is not good. I agree. Although it might be a window to I don't want this stress, so therefore I'm going to change. I'm not going to give in to the stress. I'm not stressed. I'm not going to stress out. I'm not going to take this personally. I'm not going to take it that it can't work. I'm at least going to go neutral and see how fast I can get past this situation. Or I'm going to have, I know God's inside this. I know God has a plan for me, so I'm going to believe in that rather than the other. And while in the meantime, I don't have to stress. I'm just going to surrender to it and let it go and see what flows.
Yes. I thought, actually, while we're on this subject, one of the big things that when I speak to people, they go, "What do you do?" And I said, thinking about what I've been listening to some people navigating lately, I always go to my high self. I talk to my high self, source, the resurrections angels every day, multiple times a day. Show me what's true and real in the fifth dimension and above. Do what's for my highest good. Hey, I'm looking at this situation. What's the truth of it? As simple as that is, it's so incredibly effective. And we could get out of whatever confusion we're in it by utilizing those tools. What do you think?
Of course.
And then
that's what we've been teaching.
Yeah.
Of course. And the things that I like are the things that work.
Mm-hmm.
You know that about me. If something works and something's good in it, it's not, and you can add another one to your group that you go to, and that is you can go to your parallel universes that have already gone through what you're going through now, and ask them to empower you with the same blessing that they have. You can get the same thing. So in other words, if you were working on financials, if you go to a parallel universe where you had abundance coming out of your ears, the abundance was all over the place and it was really easy, and you always knew you were going to be abundant, and you were a magnet to it and you're pulling it in. And the reason that you're getting it now is because they're giving their knowledge and their energy and how to do that automatically to you. So I think one of the things we should be looking at, along with everything else we're doing, is that you quantum jump into a parallel universe that already knows the answers.
Nancy,
has been there, done that.
we've mentioned going to a parallel universe. Parallel universe or a different timeline before. But is there any instructions you can give on quantum jumping? Because not everybody's as familiar with the quantum field or going into a different timeline.
Go down. There's one tech. I mean, a lot of people do techniques. I ask for what I want or need. So I've been asking for my highest level of quantum jumping of my parallel universe. It's the highest level for me, so I can quantum jump to. Mm-hmm. So I become the highest level of the parallel universe. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that, or you can, one technique. I'm a little leery just to say, but because I forget the person's name who did this. But anyway, it wasn't me. You walk down a corridor and you go down a corridor and you stand. All of a sudden, you stand in front of a room that has the quantum jump you want with all the aspects that you want. And you go inside the room, and they empower you, so to speak, with that ability to have that faith and trust, or whatever it is that you're trying to vibrate at.
Is that an alternative version of you, like the version of you that's already there?
They're all you.
Okay, so when you say
every parallel universe that we're talking about is you. Okay. It's just different, but some are ahead of the game. Some have already achieved. There's people that have done miracles with themselves. Every time you have an aha moment and you graduate to a better space, you just quantum jumped.
Okay. Can you?
Everybody quantum jumps all the time. I mean, everyone who's on this path quantum jumps all the time. We all quantum jump. Every time you have a aha moment, or epiphany, or something, go, oh my God, that was ingenious. I get those, and I go, whoa! But it's the parallel universe. A lot of times, it's the quantum jump to the parallel universe. It's already feeding me the information.
What is quantum jumping, Nancy?
You go to a consciousness that is that's going on parallel to us right now. We're having this podcast, and in the quantum level, there's maybe many podcasts. It could be many of you and I doing the same thing that we're doing. We could be covering different subjects, even
looking in different ways.
Yeah. So it divided up, the soul divided up the high self, and I agree with you. Go to the high self for sure. That's the one that knows you the best and is there. But also the important thing is that we divide it up so that we can learn more. If there's many Nancys out there doing whatever they're doing, I'm doing out there. If there's many Nancys out there doing things, I'm going to have a comprehensive opportunity to know a lot, especially when I'm pulling them all in together.
How do you do that?
By my will.
But I mean, like, what are you saying or doing?
I mean, I'm part of the pull-in, but I'm becoming one with me. Right. That's what I meant by I'm asking to be the highest level of my quantum ability.
So that translates to
that uniting. Means my soul has gathered all of our different lessons and our different opportunities and our, and so on. And everything we've all learned and went through in multiple universes, we're pulling it together and taking that information in and becoming strong.
So you're asking to unify with the different yous that are out there.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Well, not all of them. I mean, I don't need to go through some of them. I'm not.
I don't want the ones that are not lower than where I'm at right now.
I'm not trying. Well, I only want the high either. I don't know. That may not, because I would think that all of the ones in my background are, in yours and most of the people that are listening here, they probably have all been resolved. If you have a past life running right now, which is the same thing. A timeline. If you got a timeline on, if it doesn't make sense to you now in this lifetime, chances are you're going through a past life or a timeline, and it needs to be resolved and so on. So most of the things that's not true. I would say gathering all of it, but the parallel universe, most of my parallel universes have been brought into higher levels.
So you can say something, if you're doing this, we'll call it work. All my previous timelines are now resolved.
Sure.
With that,
or maybe if it's the case, I mean, if there's something I need to learn and do, if there's some kind of issue that wasn't my issue in this lifetime, but it's hitting me in this lifetime, if it's hitting me in this lifetime, then I need to resolve it.
Right.
I didn't say I was done with all my lessons, but I'm getting close.
I thought maybe we could just expedite it and just everything's resolved.
You can do anything you want. I mean, it's all inside you, and it's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to everybody who's listening. I mean, we all have the ability. Right now, you have the ability to work miracles on any problem. If you want to call it a miracle, call it a solution, call it an opportunity.
So if we want to, let's just, I'm still looking for like a how-to on the quantum jumping, because I know not everybody's familiar with the quantum, and earlier you used this example with money, so we can follow through on that.
You can ask, you can go down the corridor, you can there's a lot of things on the internet that teaches quantum jumping.
Okay.
I already told you too. You're quantum jumping every time you have an epiphany.
Denise says, how do you correct something from a past life, or how do we become aware of it?
It'll become aware to you. You'll be going through it. And then you make a decision on it. Like, let's say you're having a problem with a specific person, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know why. I mean, it's not like they've done anything to you, but just something about it that just doesn't add up. That's probably a past life. So when you go into that timeline or that past life, you ask for peace and harmony and well-being. You ask for something nice to happen. Or if you're not getting along with someone at work and there's, someone's just giving you a rough time and it doesn't make any logic or reason exactly, you're not doing anything to make that happen, they just seem to be doing it to you, go to the conference table inside you and ask for love, peace, and harmony to be put into that situation. Everything is mental. You get what you think. So ask.
Yeah, one of the big things about emotions is that we can use them in a way that's constructive for the outcomes that we want. So instead of getting lost in them or letting them run us, when we understand, okay, when I'm angry, it means this, or when I'm sad, it means this. Like, if I take the opportunity that whenever I feel anything, to ask myself why I feel that way and what am I needing, and then it gives you this pathway of, okay, if I feel angry right now, how do I need to care for myself? What boundary was disrupted, or what do I feel like
where do I feel I need control when I don't have control? Or what's the solution to this situation?
Exactly.
For all past life? You can also do things in advance. What is the solution for me, for this timeline for me and all of my past lives?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because what happens is there's a thread that runs through all of the past lives. In other words, there's a common denominator thread that runs through all of it, even though it's a different angle to it, a different way of experiencing it, but it doesn't mean that it's a different situation.
Mm-hmm. Can I share this great thing I read? There was an experiment that was done in California where they wanted to test the impact of intentions and positivity. So they had 10 people per lineup. They first had the control group. They had the first group who came in that said, okay, you're going to receive a test tube of DNA, because it was easy to evaluate. You're going to hold this test tube of DNA and you're going to think about really positive, great feelings. You're going to think about love, appreciation, gratitude, and then we're going to look at the DNA and we're going to see the impact on it. So when they put it under a microscope, there was very little change to that DNA. Then they had the second control group where they said, okay, you're going to think about positive thoughts, love, appreciation, gratitude, but you're also going to set an intention that the DNA is going to change shape. It's either going to wind more or it's going to unwind. And then after that segment was done, the time frame was 2 minutes per set of people. They put it under a microscope and they saw that up to 25% of the DNA was altered by the group that had thought the positive feeling and held the intellectual intention. Then they did a third group of 10 people and they said, okay, we're going to take the positive emotion out of it and we're just going to focus on the intention piece. Let's set the intention that you're going to wind and unwind this DNA. They put it under a microscope and nothing happened. So what they came up with is that when we have high vibrational positive feelings and also set intentions, when we have congruency between heart, body, and mind, this is when we have the impact, or this is when we have the ability to impact things in the physical. And the little ... on the bottom was, if we can change DNA in 2 minutes, what can we do for the rest of our reality?
And Teresa, we do change, even in stress, it changes. So it's a law. It's a universal law, and that's why the DNA is not as important. The DNA is a reflector, and you can change anything. You have the ability. First of all, love. Maybe before we quit it, love is not an emotion. It's a energy inside a person. It's a frequency. And all the emotions are frequencies.
Yes.
Peace is a frequency. All I have to do, I say all I have to do, but what the point is to do is to match our frequency to what it is that we want.
Actually.
And how do you do that? By will. You go in, you meditate, or you ask for it, or you remember a time where you felt, that joy or that happy, and there's many, many ways. It depends on your high self to show you. And all of, each person doesn't have to do the same thing the same way. I mean, it can be done in what way, but the intent, like you just mentioned, the most important word in that was the intent. The intent is, I want to be peaceful. I want to be happy. Go to the fifth dimension and ask, how do I do that? How can I do that consistently? How can we do this and let the universe help you?
Absolutely. Actually, that's a good answer to a question that I didn't even ask you yet. That I was about to ask you. I was going to say to you, one of the things that I was reading recently was the importance of the body being in agreement with our manifestations. There's so many teachers out there that talk about getting into a positive mind space that allows us to receive what it is that we're putting energy out wanting, the intention that we put. But one of the things that, like I said, I read recently was about the body. Is the body in energetic attunement to what we're wanting? Bodies. Are the bodies in energetic attunement to what we're wanting? And so I just want to break that open in two different directions. One, let's say that something's in the emotional body, but not in the physical body. If there's a trauma, if there's something in the body that's creating resistance, so the mind is clear, the intention is clear, the emotion is clear, but if the body is not clear, we may still not receive what we're wanting until we clear that body or the bodies. So Nancy, in your vantage point, how do we clear our bodies?
Through the subconscious mind.
How though?
Rewrite the story, rewrite whatever it is into a positive scenario. And be careful how you say I am. Make sure you're saying that after the I am, it's the what you want to happen.
Right. So,
and it takes changing the subconscious mind. That's why affirmation and words are not as important as your intent.
Right.
your subconscious mind will understand your intent. And if you go to the higher level, the spirit and the subconscious become one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole idea, is to become one with all these different aspects.
Right.
Be unity. It's a win-win for everybody when you're in the higher level. It's a separation and all kinds of problems when you're not.
Right. And I know my answer about this, because my next question to you is going to be, well, we have multiple bodies. We have the physical, emotional, intellectual, auric, spiritual, etheric, ancestral. How do we know which body, or how can we isolate?
Well, you can
which
test
body?
it. The testing can be. You can ask. I mean, most of this is ask. Go to the higher level, meditate, and ask, or ask and then meditate. But you can also do testing, like with the fingers and the arm and stuff like that.
Right, the
Is it this
kinetic
body?
testing.
Is it that body? Is it this? Is it that? I personally, one of my favorite ones is, because I was a hypnotist, I am a hypnotist, is to use the eyes open and closing. If they open, it's the answer is yes. Otherwise they will not open. They will not open unless the answer is yes. So you can set up your own technique. When you relax, that your eyes will open and close. Is it the physical body? Is it in the emotional body? Yes or no? Is it in,
So one of our listeners here is saying, okay, so we are changing our thoughts, and then the answer to that would be yes. But then the follow-up is, how do I change my feelings? How do I overcome
your feelings? If your thoughts change, ask for clarity. In your thoughts, ask for clarity. Ask for a solution to this problem. Go to the higher level, breathe, and go to the higher level, listen to the breath, and, whatever anybody's technique is. And then ask for the solution. And in the solution, that's part of the solution.
Oh, that's fun. That's nice and easy.
Yeah, it was, Teresa, it has to be fair for everybody, for the person who's elderly to the young, to the person who is, it's got to be simple enough that everyone can do it.
Right.
And when the mind makes it too difficult and, I can't do this, I'm trying too hard and I'm overthinking and I'm doing all this stuff, it doesn't work, because it's built in simplicity.
That's true. I agree with that. Denise says my resurrection angels are gonna get tired of me. That's not true.
No,
but
they're asking for please use us. We're here. This is a very important time, and she's very important. So, and she's got each one of us have a quantum leap of who we are. That's going to be the answer for the world.
Absolutely, we're all contributing
to
it.
No, nobody's left behind in this. Nobody.
That's
and
right.
The angels aren't going to leave us behind.
That's true.
If they're true angels, they're not going to leave us behind.
And they're not getting tired of helping us, because they want our vibration to be high and beautiful.
Do you get tired of breathing?
No, I don't. I actually enjoy it.
Do you get tired of doing nice things? Do you get tired of having empathy? Do you get tired of seeing someone move forward and feel good? You don't.
Right.
Neither do they.
That's very true.
I think one of the things, though, that does help get their help and can maintain their help and get it to the next level, and that is to practice what they tell you.
Yes.
And it's not about they're going to let you go if you don't practice it, but they'll wait until you're ready.
One of the messages that I got the other day while I was meditating was about cord cutting. And not just, sometimes we practice cord cutting between us and another person to clear our energy. But this
cord cutting is to anything.
That's what I was just going to say. In this situation, the guidance I received was cord cutting to the situation. And I did it.
Cord cut to the situation, but remember to seal it.
Yes. So speaking of emotions in this topic, I think a good point to end on or wrap up on is that cord cutting is a technique where we can use our hands and body If anyone's interested, you can message me. I'll show you the technique. Essentially, we're taking our left hand, putting it over the belly button, our right hand, putting it on top of our head, and we're crunching down the energy like an accordion. We're crunching it down, and we're looking to go through our own body. We're looking for energetic feeling, something that feels different or unique, something that strikes us, to grab that cord, to use our left hand to cut. We could use it as a sword, a pair of scissors, send the energy back to the source of it, and then put a seal up saying, you can't come back to me. And then fill that spot that was connected with love, with light. And then, it's sealed up nice, and that gives you your energy back. That gives you clear, good, loving energy, and takes away the energy that's not serving your best and highest good. And you'd go through your body space by space with that. And in doing that, it creates a sever between you and the situation, and you and the situation, you and the person, you and whatever is not serving your best and highest good. Okay. Nancy, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us tonight?
Or you can have the angels cut the cords for you.
Oh, that's nice too. I like that. Denise says thank you. Now I understand.
You know me, I like simplicity. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much.
No, and when you do that, I'm serious. I mean, you can have like Archangel Michael or different ones, but the cords link us to one person. The cord runs from us and our sphere, our bodies, and so on, and it goes to someone else.
Yeah.
So, so cutting the cord, you got to cut the cord on their side and your side.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, thank you everyone for watching our podcast with us. We were happy to be here with you. We look forward to seeing you next time, and have a really great night.
Good night.